Good morning. It's that time again. It's Phil, the Down Under Maker. How is everybody this morning? I'm guessing that a few people who wouldn't ordinarily be here are still stuck over on the Lee Marie stream. Damn it, Keela, rescheduling into my stream time. They promised a raid over to me, so it shouldn't be too bad. Let me get rid of that light so it's not so much in the way. So today we're taking a break from Box Turtle build, which I have been cheating on you with a little bit. I've dismantled every single respooler yet again. I've used the LDO nylon wheels, and I've glued them to the shaft with super glue. They are very rock solid. They are running very, very nice and true, and that's going to be the way forward. I've just got a little bit of fettling to do on channel 4 to get that all nicely lined up. The tolerances on it aren't big enough, I don't think, for the way they've designed it. So I'm going to do a little bit more fettling and a little bit more adjusting. I may even need to print the lower trays again, just a little bit wider. It's just rubbing by a few thousandths of an inch, and that's, yeah, it's causing the problems that mean that it's not respooling as at full speed, and that's tripping everything over. So what we might do is get onto that later, but today we are building a stealth press. Reason for building a stealth press, it's been sitting in my cupboard for weeks, and I wanted to do something other than Box Turtle today, just for a little bit of a break. I know I've had a couple of weeks off, but I like streaming. It was just becoming very frustrating doing that Box Turtle stuff. So off stream, I've printed everything out. Let's go over to a different view so you can see me and what's going on here. Main base, soldering iron we'll be using, and all the parts. Don't know if anybody's here in chat yet or not, but I'm going to start as if everybody is hanging out, and if they're not, well, they're missing out. Now, there is no instruction manual as such for this, but it is on printables. It is for free. What's going on here? That's not right. That should be Chrome. 1 second. There we go. That's better. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Nick. Has Jeremy just kicked you guys out, or you just come over here of your own volition? So what we've got is stealth press. I won't name names because I'm not particularly happy with the filaments, but this is supposed to be a sparkly ABS. There. It's just not. Let's try this camera. You can barely make out the flex. So, I mean, it printed all right. I had to dry it for 3 days to get it even remotely printable, but yeah, it feels solid enough. It's just not very good in terms of the sort of stuff we've got used to with Polymaker, etc., in terms of Galaxy, etc. So yeah, it's black. It looks all right. It'll do the job. And oh, hi Jex. So let's warm up the soldering iron, ready for doing 1,000,001 heat sets. Where did I put the box? I put the box here. So the kits itself, let's get rid of this for a second. I did show on stream a couple of weeks ago when I did the opening of the box. Hardware pack, bearings, screws, and a bunch of heat sets. They included the soldering iron mount. It actually happens to be the one for my soldering iron, so I fluked it. A whole bunch of heat set tips. And these appear to be printed in polycarbonate. I think these are the old versions of the parts that hold the key back. They're printed very nicely. Very nice finish on those. But it's the old version. And they have a rail, including a safe removal tool. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see if that works, or if I spill bearings everywhere. And the key back. Let's get rid of the box because it's been in the way. Where's my grease? My grease is here. Let's get on with the build. Now let's see what's going to work best. I think that view there is going to be the best for everybody. Is everybody happy with that view? It looks like it has some texture. Looks like it carbon fiber filled. Do you mean my print or theirs? Definitely no carbon fiber in it. It's just, I think the guy was dabbling in getting filament into Australia, and he's since stopped doing it. And yeah, it's good enough. So what I'm doing, which I'll do it up here so you can see it, is I'm just grabbing the rail out. And what I plan to do first is quickly grease the rail. And then, now they have got rail stops in here, but I'm going to split this bag a bit better than this. Now, if this was a printer, of course, what I'd be doing is completely stripping this, degreasing it, and then re-greasing it from scratch. But it's not going to get that much heavy-duty use. It's just simply for the Stealthpress, so it's going to have almost no duty cycle. I'm sure you guys have seen Steve Builds do this 1,000,001 times. Slide, slide, slide. Line up the keeper. And it's bridged and transferred. Now the bearings should be nice and safe. And there we are. Finger on the end. Now, like I said, this is going to be a very light duty cycle, so I'm just using a little dab of grease. And I have got shaky hands today. I'm just getting over a migraine, so my blood pressure's a bit all over the place. Put that over there. And what I'm going to do to run the bearings around is I'm going to very slowly insert the tool and run it all the way through, because that will train the bearings around, and then do the grease again. And I'm going to run this through one more time and see whether the bearings are fully cycled through or not. No, it looks like we've got another batch we can do. Now there's a mechanical fitter who I work with who does all the maintenance at one of the schools I work with. And his recommendation is, if there's a gap between the bearings, like you might be able to see where the nozzle is here, he says to just put a dab of grease in there. Two reasons. One, it stops the bearings moving around so much during reinsert, so they're less likely to pop out. And two, it doesn't hurt to have a small reservoir of grease in there. So let's put the guide back on. And then turn it over, turn that over. Line them up, and we're on, and no lost bearings. I'm guessing you guys are all watching Keeler hand out filament right now. Okay, so let's find that little stopper if I can. Here's other recommendation from the mechanical fitter. If you've got rail stoppers, put them as close together as possible. That way the rail can't make, the carriage can't make up any momentum as it moves down the rail, and it's far less likely to pop it off sliding down if you do something silly. Put that out of the way for a minute. So, next up, hey, I managed to get no grease on my fingers either, is a whole bunch of heat set inserts. So I hope you guys are ready. The heat set iron has been on for a few minutes, so that should be good. Let's just go through this hardware pack. Big giant washer. 4 spacer washers. All the heat sets. Two big screws, 2 long thin screws, and 1,000,000 of the ubiquitous M38s that we're all used to. If only I had a heat set press to do this with, yes. That's kind of the point. I was realizing when I was putting the box together, some reprinted parts of the box total back together, it wasn't being as accurate as I could be, so it was time to do something about that. And I already had this as a present to myself, and it was time to do it. So as you can see here, I have already printed some of the spacers. There's a 4th one here somewhere amongst these parts. They are the equivalent of those big metal washers we saw in the pack. We'll decide when we get there whether we're going to use the metal or the plastic printed ones. Heat sets we need. And let's put that there so I don't melt some iron. I don't think we're going to need the vise, so I'll get rid of that for now. I'll talk about why I've had the vise out in a few minutes once we're more progressed. So, turn it that way so I'm less likely to melt things. What are the pros and cons versus the VLMP2? I would love to be able to afford a VLMP2. To do that, it's into Australia is about $100 Australian, which is what, $65, $67 US. This cost me $30. So for me, the entire pro was I could afford this without having to think about what else I had to not buy. Speaking of buying and not buying, I spent an awful lot of money for you guys this week. I'm guessing that Jex, you voted, and I know a couple of other people who did vote, but I had a vote up for which of the which should I do next, a 3D Sets truck or some major renos on my V0, and the overwhelming vote was for the truck. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I've parted with about $150 Australian, no, almost $200 Australian, so about $130 American for all the parts, and they're in the shipping. I got a mail confirmation this morning that the tires have shipped because I'm doing the Lego tires. I think I'm going to need my steel edge ruler. Yeah. There. It's not the one I was looking for, but it's the one that'll do. So just to explain what's going on, these holes, let's just go to here, are a lot smaller than the original design by the looks of it, or the heat sets are the wrong spec for the kit, and there's a lot of extra plastic being pushed out compared to what you would normally expect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm them up and use the steel ruler, because what it does is it not only allows you to press it 100% flat with the surface, it also sinks out some of the heat as it does it, so it sets it exactly in the right spot for you. Jex voted for Renos. Don't worry, the Renos will come. It may be that we do some of the Renos if not all the parts turn up on time. So we can make a start on the V0. Because I have 2 of them, it means that I still have one online, even if the other is offline for a couple of weeks while we build the 3D sets. Still can't get notifications for your channel, so missed the vote. I don't know what's going on there. I'm definitely set to not suitable for kids. It could also be that I've not been streaming long enough, so some of those features aren't available yet. So when I said I'd been drying this filament for 3 days, I wasn't joking. It was 3 days, and I still had quite significant stringing. So I got my heat torch out, my heat gun out, and gave it a good blast, and that got rid of almost all of it. So they're looking nice and pretty. Now, Jeremy and I had set up so that potentially he could raid over here. I don't know if or when that's going to happen. It depends if we manage to get all the settings to align. It was kind of a last minute thing. Ow! Kind of a last minute thing that I realized that they were going to be finishing at a time that would work to raid in. So I messaged Keela first thing this morning, my time, and said, hey, can we see if the stars align? And she was happy to do that with me. Okay, so they're done. Now, the other good thing about this and just taking it easy on this stream is I'm just going to use the OBS setup that I've got. I'm not going to be adjusting anything because every time I make any adjustments, OBS crashes because they've done something silly and it doesn't play well with AMD video cards at the moment. Not deep enough. Sorry, I'll try and stop dropping the ruler. So what I'm seeing when I'm putting in these heat sets in these holes that are slightly too narrow is that the heat set is trying to kind of buoyantly work its way back out of the hole. It kind of goes in and then slowly rises back out as it under like buoyancy. So that's why I'm definitely using that ruler to get it all set. So where are we at? We are on the wrong screen there, so let's change that. Go back to Chrome. So this is the Stealthpress. For those who haven't seen it before, that is one of those bougie TS101 or pine steel style soldering irons. Can't afford one at the moment, guys. So at this stage, I'm going to go with the cheapies that I have that cost all of about $2 American landed here in Australia, and then another $2 for an Australian plug to put on it. So yeah, that's the way I'm going to roll for now, at least. So we've got all those heat sets in. I think there's more heat sets to do on the side. Yes, there is. Let's put that out of the way. And now I remember why I had the vise out. Let's go back to so the reason I had the vise out was to give me something to support this part as I was putting the heat sets in here. Now there's no manual as such, so I'm doing this entirely off This Feels Right and having had a quick look through some of the pictures on the site. There is a step file that I could open, but with how silly OBS is being at the moment, I'm not game to try and run Fusion at the same time. I could put them flush against the table, but nah, that's for heathens. I got this nice steel edge ruler, I may as well use it. Now, has anybody seen the Big Tree Tech giveaways? Not hashtag not sponsored. That are going to be at Rocky Mountain. They're giving away IOUs for a bunch of new products and unreleased products. There's, I think, 2 IOUs for Vivids, and also what looks like their equivalent of the Apis 2 extruder that is done by Vetus. So some people are going to walk away very happy. So that's all there. That looks like it takes an M3 nut. I'm just looking at this and there's no... that's probably where the bearings go into, so it probably just screws into plastic. You may or may not be able to see. There's a couple of screw holes just in here. And I'm guessing that the M4s or M5s, whatever they are, screw through here, through the bearings and into that. So that goes there. In one moment. That's got 2 heat sets. Nebula, that's it. Just to keep Jex happy, turn it over and do that one on the bench. Keep dropping stuff. That one's done. Where's the other one? I do think that the way they're handling this, giving people an IOU for products that may or may not ever release, is a bit silly, but they're obviously desperate for the marketing. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the rest of these parts. 2 there and 2 there, which match up. You'll notice there's a little imperfection here. I printed 2 parts too close together on the printer, and they touched. Didn't look like they touched when I did the first layer, because I checked the first layer to make sure everything, there was a slight taper in one of the parts, so it ended up reaching across and just nudging into this one. So that one's done. That. The surface finish on this edge is pretty appalling. That one's not so bad. Now, once we've finished building this, because quite obviously this isn't going to take the whole 2 hours, I was going to grab some of my filament off the shelf and get some help from you guys on what colors to pick for the 3D sets truck. BCT typically offers an alternative product if it's like. That's how I ended up. I got a build plate from Big Tree Tech because the scrapers, I won the scraper on Joel Telling's charity giveaway stream back in December, and it got to the end of March and they still weren't launched. So I messaged the rep that I know and they said, yeah, they're not coming soon. So would you like something else instead? And they basically said, jump onto the website and pick SKUs to the value of X dollars, which is what I did. So I ended up just getting a build plate because that was my most pressing need at the time. I just realized I didn't put the cap on the grease, so I'm doing that now. That's that one. What camera is? Oh, My look at me camera's gone walkabout. That's better. That's better. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't realize. You should tell me. So that's got its heat sets in. Can't see any more. That's my part. Doesn't look like it. It's not clear whether that takes heat sets or not. It doesn't look like the same sort of hole, so I'm going to assume not. That's their nylon parts, so I'm assuming nylon at least. Put those out of the way. Aha! There's what looks like 2 heat set holes there. Let's compare them to the base. Nope. Maybe. Maybe I am going to have to load this step file. Let's go here. And I'm praying that you guys can see what I can see at this point, because I've got Super Slicer over the top. Oh yeah, you can. Cancel. Delete. I think it's import. Nope. Did I done? Oh no, it's the step file for the. No, it's the step file that's included is only for designing your own soldering iron holder. Interesting. Let's have a look at this. Hi, Bill. We're just stumbling our way through some lack of instructions at this point. There's no details about what to do underneath. So let's go to the vise, because I don't think we need it at the moment. And let's do the logical stuff. Let's turn off the soldering iron so I don't burn my hands anymore. And grab the rail. Now this super long Allen key started out as a ball head. It came with a printer that I built for a guy, and then he decided that he didn't want the toolkit that came with it, and I was like, okay, I'll keep it. But the ball heads on them were appalling. They were always undersized. In a hotel room in Wyoming with inadequate Wi-Fi, good luck. It sounds like you need good luck, dude. So I'm just showing you guys what's going on. There's a taper here, and this fits into the taper at the top. And then you just screw it all together. It kind of helped key it all together. It does beg the question though, Bill, if you're still here, why are you in Wyoming? Visiting family? Just double checking against the photo that I'm assembling this the right way around. Now, that is going to stop the rail actively at that end. So I'm going to put that stopper there ready for making sure it doesn't fall off the other end. Now, I'm doing the top part first because there's only 2 screw points on the top one. My logic being is this is what's going to help it all stay rigid. So they are, the middle part and the bottom part only have 1 screw each, which I'm now updating to be 2 each. Oh, you're driving to Rocky Mountain. From what I've seen of Wyoming, it's probably a lot like driving through what we call the wheat belt here. 150, 200 miles in a straight line and nothing to see but maybe cows and crops. And some deserty bits. Oh, would love to see what I'm doing. Sorry. Let's go back to hands plus me. There we go. Is that better? Hi. Sorry, Charlie. Charlie, you seem to be new here because I don't remember seeing your name, so please leave a like and subscribe. All that streamer stuff that all the professionals say. I'm on that very slow climb to 1,000 subs so I can start doing memberships, etc. They're all done. I haven't seen bulk people join, so I'm assuming either the raid didn't work or most people didn't stay for the raid from Lee Marie. Keela and Jeremy have been some of the most supportive people in getting me going and supporting strange questions that I've had as a new streamer. Okay, so that's the main body put together. Stand it up. I just did that, didn't I? The thing I said I shouldn't do. But we didn't lose a bearing. So let's put the protector in very carefully. Turn it over. And it's back on. They don't fit. So what I am going to do, just protect myself from any more silliness, I can put this screw back in afterwards. There. Can't come off that end. Shouldn't be able to come off that end now. So, what should we do next? It looks like there's a color, yeah, there's a color trim piece to go in. Will it fit? Will it need percussive persuasion? No, it's in. Doesn't fit as nicely as I would like, but it's in. Okay, so that's in. Like it never happened. So, let's have a look. That looks like it takes heat sets. Let's put that in the printer before I drop it. So, I'm having a look at these, and it does look like they will take heat sets. And it would make sense now, having looked at it. So for those who don't know, ADD is also known as Adrian, and I'm going to try and keep calling him Adrian because calling him ADD on stream is triggering for me, because that reminds me of the condition. And I'm constantly filling out reports at school for kids who might need help with that sort of stuff. Those go there. Now, there's also a screw that goes in there that clamps this all together. So it's supposed to go that way up, which makes sense. Let's get this done while we're waiting. Sorry, what we're doing is currently waiting for the current heatset iron to warm up. So, if you've never taken one of these cheap soldering irons apart, that's the heater. It's pretty much the same as what we use in our hot ends. Now this piece slides over the cartridge. And you just put it all back together. Never thought of that, but I'm good at triggering people. Yes, you are. Now, let's see if we can work out which is the M3. I'm going to take a guess on this one. Nope. Nope. Definitely not that one. That's way too fat. This one maybe. That feels that's definitely too big. That feels a little loose in the hole, said the actress to the bishop. It's the closest fit, so we're going to put that one in for now. Okay, so flex undone, ready to go. It looks to me like the tapered goes that way, so that seems to fit quite snugly on the soldering iron, so that's quite nice. So this must then interact with this. And I'm guessing it screws to there. Yes, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just nutting this out in my head. So that's going to screw to there in a moment. We're going to pull the soldering iron out and screw the two together. So I'm making sure I've got this the right orientation again. Now, again, we're working in the dark in terms of what screws go where, but it looks shallow enough that it's an M3/8. So, who are our arty people amongst the viewership? Has anybody kind of got a vague idea what colors I should do for my 3D Sets truck? I have enough yellow on hand that we could just go the standard colors that are on their website. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind that. but I'm more than open to somebody with a lot more imagination and color picking skills to come up with a better solution. So all I'm doing at the moment is just preloading these screws. Doesn't seem like it's sinking in as deep. There we go. Must have just been a small piece of swarf in the hole. So that side goes down, that goes against there. I'm going to hold it all together with a finger. Army green. Maybe. Why army green, Jex? It's not really an army style truck. There we go, all nice and tight. I'm just looking at how this is assembled and think I may have jumped the gun and we may need to take this apart again. Worry about that in a minute. Let's get these heat sets done while this soldering iron is hot. Burning myself once for a stream is all I want. Fun story for those who are regulars. One of my first ever teaching gigs was teaching science and engineering. And there was a young lady who decided that it was would be fun to see if the soldering iron was hot by picking it up from the wrong end. 3rd degree burns later, I had a 20-page report to fill out on a Friday before being able to go home. And there was almost nobody else around because there was very few classes on that particular afternoon. So she got carted off to the nurse and I got stuck for an hour and a half after school filling out paperwork. Google dark green trucks. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. So where are we at? We've got those heat sets in because that makes sense for what we're looking at. Now we need to grab the base again. So once that's in place, it should actually stop the they must be for heat sets based on what I'm seeing. Quickly back on. Now, sorry, I'm not talking as much as I could be. I'm just concentrating on what I'm doing. That snaps into place. That snaps into place. And then it looks like some more M38s go in here. That's done. Same on this side. Okay, so that's all in place. Now there's two more in the base, which I'll try and turn that way so you guys can see better. That's a little better. Sorry, I'm trying not to blind you guys with the extra lighting I have floating around. That's in. I think dark green would give it a neo-modern military look. Just thinking what I've got on the shelf in PLA. Because for those who don't know, the 3D sets are all PLA built. Okay. There we go. Not quite even. It's probably going to settle itself out once it's under tension. Think Cyberpunk. Never played it. I'm a little bit too old for computer games. Well, when I say old, it's I have kids and therefore no life. So, next part, as far as I'm aware, is this part. And this gets, one of these gets screwed to each side. But which way up is the question? Must be that way goes to the top. Yes, that way goes to the top. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but there's a small hole there where you can stuff some filament into. What that does is it locks the cable into place so it can't fall out. It's a kind of a tension relief, strain relief. That goes to the rear and to the top. And that looks like it goes that way around. Just preloading the screw. Now, for those of you who are interested in supporting my endeavors, and bearing in mind I'm not a monetized channel at this point, I do have my fourth wall, which is linked in the description. There's stickers, there's shirts. Brad seems to love his shirts. My wife's ordered the new hoodie that I've just done. So there's a little sort of something for everybody, I think. And if there's any concepts that you've seen around that you'd like, then let me know, because I can come up with something. Okay, so that's the first side done. Have any of you guys ever used Bricklink before? It's basically an online trading platform for Lego bricks and other Lego parts. It's interesting. It's confusing. It's downright annoying in some cases. Some people say that they have fixed cost shipping, which sounds fine. and then you get to the checkout, and their fixed cost is only to one region, and you've just spent 45 minutes trawling the site to find the part that and see if they actually have stock and if it's new or used. Or it's like eBay in the old Wild West. But I eventually managed to order the tires for the truck, and there's a part that they use which is actually a Lego tire, but they use it as a shock absorber. And I managed to find those, but the shock absorber has to come all the way from Indonesia because that's the only person with stock at a reasonable price and reasonable shipping. So where are we at? Now, the reason I'm just double checking what's going on is there's two orientations. There's the side that went against my print bed, and there's the top surface, and I'm liking the finish of the top surface better. It's not ironed, but I have got my printer tuned pretty well so that the top surface is nice and neat. So I'm going to make it so that the ironed surface is the one that's facing me most of the time. So let's adjust this camera a little bit so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Can I do it on all cameras at once? Maybe? No, probably not. Now I know Steve Builds is already driving. Bill's obviously driving because he dropped in and said hi. Is anybody else from the US on the way to Rocky Mountain at the moment? Now I'm a little conscious of the fact that these bottom two screws aren't quite lining up. They feel like they're binding a little bit on the other side. So I may need to adjust a few things in a moment to make it all go together. It shouldn't be too difficult. I can just simply undo the top two screws on the rail, and that'll give me a little bit of adjustment. There we go. The cooler weather started to set in here in Perth. By cooler, I mean 25°C. It's the average this week for daytime temperatures. Come on, guys. Talk to me. Say something in chat, even if it's hi. So that's fitted nicely. So it can't be too far out. Maybe if I loosen these a little. I'm probably here all alone. Jex is still here. He has nowhere else to go. That's not fitting. Let's check these out. Sorry guys, big ding. There we go. You're at work. Getting paid to be here. Best kind of reason to be here. I think that top camera's frozen. Yep, it's frozen. Unplug him. Plug him back in. We'll see what happens in a moment. That's going in place now. So there we have that part, which you can't see because it's still not restarting. Okay, let's try something. Let's go with that and that. And it's back. Okay. Is that still working? Yep. So there's two ways that these cameras can connect to Windows. One is directly, which works okay if you're just using one or two cameras, but by the time you've got to 3 or 4, it gets a bit wonky. So they have this thing called a virtual camera, which it turns the camera into a device that the Windows sees as something else, and then it's converted back to being a camera stream by another piece of software, and that seems to stabilize everything for whatever reason. So I'm currently running through the virtual mode at the moment. Now, time to take this back apart because I think this is not right. What I'm doing is I'm taking the soldering iron holder off because it looks like I should have put the screws for the clamping mechanism in first. And looking at them much more closely, again, these probably should have been heat sets. So let's warm that back up. And while that's warming up, we'll have a look at the rest of this build. So we've already discovered that these two holes here seem to be set up to allow the bearings to be mounted. And judging from what I'm seeing and all the rest of the sizes and fits, it's those spacers that I need. One each side of the bearing, so it doesn't rub on the inside of the setup. Tweezers are probably going to be necessary. And let's turn this over on its side. Let's see if there's something I can rest it on with. Microphones. So how I'm imagining this goes, because it's going to be tight to see once it's in. Screw goes through the hole, spacer, bearing, another spacer, and then it gets screwed into the plastic. That's certainly what it seems to be like. Just before I start, I'm just making sure these holes in the spacers are wide enough. Yep. So up through there. This is probably going to be just as annoying as a boron bearing stack. It keeps zooming in on me, my face, doesn't it? There we go. It shouldn't zoom around too much now. Right, so that's in place. Bearing. Now I was trying to keep you guys with as much view as possible, but this is going to suck for me to do. Something super thin. Ruler. That's about to fall out the back. There it goes. I think that's right. Got it. Is it this one? No. This one. How do I play with zoom while my hands are full? The OBSBot software tries to think it's smart, and it tries to zoom by itself. Exactly the same process again. I'm just going to make sure there's no plastic swarf inside the holes of these printed spacers. And this one might actually be easier to do, I think. A bit more vision. Quick coffee. Pesley's mug. So that's in. Next we need my spacer. Next it's the bearing. So what I've got, guys, is I've got the screw in as a slight angle, so it's not actually going into its recess. Trying to trap the washer just enough to get it into place. Come on, go in. Nope. Biddy. Oh, a Stealthpress. Is this the full size? Yes, this is the full fat version. Let's try a different angle. GTR Dad. For those who don't know, GTR Dad is the guy who's currently winning every stream. It was Petty Ruxpin for a while, but now it's GTR Dad who's winning the filament on everybody's streams. Not this one though, because we don't have filament giveaways. Not yet. Hopefully somebody will sponsor us soon. So what we're trying to do for the... Oh, rated in. You're finally here, guys. It worked. Hi, everybody. I'm Phil. I'm the Down Under maker, and this is a Stealthpress. I'm doing the fiddly bit where you have to try and get the washer into place. And I'm trying to do it on camera, which is making it double difficult. Let's try this angle. Let's squash you guys down so you can see a bit better. I can see Jeremy's here, Tulsa Skin, Clown Hammer, Big Mex Woodworking, Ang 312, Midnight Wolf's here. Welcome aboard, like and subscribe and all that YouTuber stuff. Maybe I should have just done it this way all along. That was quite a lot easier. Sorry guys, I'm trying to bring you along for the ride and my camera angles aren't always working. There we go, it's in. Allen key before we lose it. Suddenly it got really busy in here. We got a Clown Hammer, we got a Dan Adams. Here but working Dan. That's the best time to be here, being paid to be here. Now, for all those people new to my streams, I'm not monetized at this point, so the best way to support me is to leave a like, a subscribe, tell your friends, and if you really want and love my koala logo and my kangaroo, then jump on Fourth Wall and buy yourself some merch. Easiest way to show you guys my shirt. And there's a kangaroo on each elbow. I just lost the game. I'm not sure what game you're playing, Midnight Wolf, but it's good to have you here anyway. So what we've got is we're up to the point where we have carriage in place. We have our strain relief in place. We've got our bearings in place. Next, we are going to try not to burn myself for a third time, and we're going to put in the last of the, what we suspect is the last of the heat sets. One. Hi, Keela. I was telling all the people who were in the stream earlier that you were very kind and gracious when we realized that our streams were going to line up, and you very happily agreed to narrate across to me when you were done. And then Jeremy and I spent 40 minutes playing phone tag. Ow, still hot. Trying to get hold of each other. Now, it looks like there's supposed to be an M3 nut in this package somewhere, but I can't see it in any of these bags unless it's in this one. Sorry guys, dropped you on your heads. Nope, there's no M3 nut in here. So let's raid my stash. I've been channeling some Steve Builds vibes, and I've been labeling all my parts bins. I'm trying to do a few each week. M3 nuts are there. All the rest of the fasteners are black, so let's go for a black one. It's an M3 nut. And the way it seems like this works is M3 nut here. We then have a screw that goes all the way through this. That's not going to be long enough. Maybe there's a reason these kits are on run out special. So M3 nut in here, which then connects it directly to the yeah, that's going to need probably a 16. Maybe even longer than a 16. Let's go on M320, we can always change it back again. George M, I forgot about the game. Make it easy, table them all. Label them all. I'm guessing you mean label them all, Dan Adams. What's Martin up to? Oh. Okay, sorry, I know that was off screen, but that was a difficult thing to bind up. That is nowhere near long enough. Okay, so now I've got a decent guesstimate of the measure. I reckon that needs another 10 mil, so we'll go with an M330. If I can get this out. Jeremy, and you have to sort of set it up beforehand, but it does work. Everybody was saying that you can do it in the middle of your stream, but it seems like it would be a lot of faff for somebody to have to do that. Uh, 30. No, gonna have to be a stainless. Work on an assembly line, can't type easy. For those of you who don't know, I'm a science and engineering teacher when I'm not streaming. And quite often I get called in for relief lessons, so it's basically glorified babysitting. And I have been known to catch people's streams That might even be a bit long, but I'm happy with that. We can always adjust that later. So the tensioning screw is in place, which means we can now put this all back onto the mount, and we can put the mount onto the carriage. Should we put the mount onto the carriage first? I think so. Where did I put it? There. Now, from memory, we need to put the key back in place first. So let's have a look at this more closely. 2 more heat set spots we forgot, or I forgot. I blame Jex. Nearly dropped you guys. So much to learn about streaming. Yet I don't even try to learn new things, DJ Midnight Wolf. I just find something that I know I'm missing, and then I deal with it at that point. Like, I knew streaming was possible, raiding into streams was possible, but how to do it, I had no idea until this morning. I quickly checked a how-to video. There's people who make YouTube videos about how to make YouTube videos. So I found one of those, and that briefly explained it all, and I followed that. Now is that an M3 screw? No, that's also a heat set, so we may as well do those while we're here. Jeremy, I thought you were the game. So when I left, you guys were arguing about putting tracks onto the Death Racer. Did you get that all done? Right, that's all there, that's all there. Got everything done. Yay! I'm not sure that the kit is designed for the current version of Keyback. I'm just having a look at what's going on. That's not a big deal. It included the nylon parts. Let's use the nylon parts. Tracks are on Death Racer can pop a wheelie with these rubber molded tracks. Nice. I got to admit, I was all prepped to buy myself a Death Racer kit at Christmas time. It was a Black Friday. But I saw that Nero was about to build one, so I held off because his stream was going to be halfway done. His stream series was going to be halfway done before the sale ended. And then I saw just how lacking the BTT kit was. So I pulled the pin on that idea for a while. That fits. That fits. That's going to be those screws. Ajax 3D just announced the new TD1S. What's the difference? Is it going to be easier to assemble? It was already pretty good. Turn that off. I've run out of heat sets. You want to build one, but would you use it? Build the TD1 or the Death Racer, Brent? Now I'm going to remind everybody one more time before... Actually, I've just realized something. Slightly different design on this one. I'm sure Iconic FAB has an instruction manual somewhere. Presumably it's behind the paywall. And when I'm a bit more financial, I will definitely support, because I want the drawer that goes in underneath this. But just for now, especially having just spent so much money getting ready to do the 3D sets kit, why isn't it going in? Oh, they've ByQI'd it, have they? Yeah, the draw mod is paywalled Kaggle subscription. I don't mind doing it. It's just I've spent 200 Australian dollars this week on the parts of the 3D sets, on top of buying the files. Doesn't quite fit. You know what? I'm going to do that after stream. I'm just going to tighten this up and rely on tension. That screw's too long. Oh, there's a mod, is there? If you can send me the link, I will gladly have a look at it. Whether I build it or not, or whether I'll support the creator, that's to be decided. Right. So next. Just double checking the camera is still running. We've had a little bit of a problem with the close-up camera this morning. It's crashed. And we're in place. What time is it? Got about half an hour left. Now, for those of you who are new to my streams, I normally stream from around 10 a.m. Perth time till lunchtime, Perth time, 12 o'clock. I'm in Perth, Western Australia, which is GMT +8. Now that is going to end up in mischief. So let's do something sensible for a moment. What can I hook that on? what I'm doing, guys, is there's a safety collet on the wire. I'm just going to shunt that down a little bit so this doesn't snap on my fingers too much. I got to go, y'all. No worries, Jeremy. I know you guys are about to head out to the airport tomorrow morning, so all good, and have a safe flight and all that stuff. So that goes over there. That goes over there. And that goes over there. Okay, I think we're halfway there. Thank you, Martin Clownhammer. Akila, you have a very safe flight. Make sure Jeremy looks after you. And that invite was genuine. If you decide to rock up, we will definitely raid our wine cellar. This has taken a lot longer to put together than I was expecting, I'm going to be honest. Some of it's my own silliness because I'm winging it. For those who weren't on the Lee stream earlier, Keela was talking about her like for booze. I'm not calling her a booze hag or anything like that. And my wife and I are looking at updating our wine cellar a little bit. So I suggest that she and Jeremy should come visit and help us empty what we've currently got in our wine cellar so we can go buy new stuff. Are we counting down how many subs I've got? If you guys could get me over 100 today, I would be most grateful. If it doesn't happen, not the end of the world. But that would get me 10% towards monetization. Because on YouTube, it's 1,000 subs before they'll monetize you. Plus a few other bits and pieces you have to achieve. Okay, that's in place. It's not looking too floppy. That's in place. 92. Right. So this piece we worked out earlier screws onto here. You guys see what I'm doing? Not really. Put this back a bit. There we go. For you new people, I've been wrestling with a box turtle for the last couple of weeks, and it really has been, it got to the point last week where I wanted it to be over. So I decided that this week I wasn't going to have anything to do with box turtle. I was going to take the week off from it and do this instead. And now I've got some time to be able to work with it on my own and try and address some of the issues. Some of it is me not having built it as accurately as I possibly could. And some of it is a few minor shortcomings in the design. Melbourne is on the way to Perth, so you better come visit. But Melbourne's cold and wet, Nikki. And the coffee's awful in Melbourne. For non-Aussies on the stream, there's this rivalry where Melbourne thinks that they're the best at coffee, and they're just not. If we do manage to crack 100 subs, guys, can somebody screenshot it for me and then send it to me on Discord? Somebody sent me a screenshot when it got to 69, which I was most grateful for, because that's nice. Okay, so I think we are just about done. What we need next is the soldering iron. Did I just do a dumb? No, I can fix this. You've got 911 subs and hardly any content. You've got to be on at the right time of day. You've got to make the right kind of content, and you obviously are. At least we can all agree. Yeah, Sydney makes awful coffee. And I think we are done. A nice little stash of M38s to go in my drawer, because there's a few extras. And once Kegel sends me through that STL, I will knock off those that drawer mod for this. But yeah, next is... Now, let's just work this out. Most of the time, I'm going to be using it this way. The PowerPoints I use are over there. So yeah, that works. And that's enough free cable. So I kept some PETG out for this. Here it is. And I've got it loaded in the box turtle still. That'll do. How's the stealth changer build coming? Any progress with B2 electronics? You must be talking to somebody else, because that's not me. Oh, it's for the legacy version. That makes sense. That's probably why I couldn't see it. Honestly, for anybody who's interested in knows that I've been working towards doing a stealth changer. I've put it all on pause. I can't see a point, if I'm honest. If the Bontech the system is going to be as good as it looks, then unfortunately Stealth Changer's missed its time. And to a certain extent, I suspect that most of these other filament changer style systems are probably going to go by the wayside too. I'm not sad that I built my box turtle, but I am a little bit sad that I used all that money which could have gone towards lots and lots of heads for the V2 behind me. I'm not going to worry about that for now. I need to get a little drill bit to open up one of those holes. But that Allen key fits in there, so that's going to hold the cable in place. Send it to me anyway. Maybe I'll modify it. Yeah, the index is looking pretty sweet. I can't see any machine in our space, the build it yourself space, that isn't going to be able to be worked with index. Stealth Changer requires so much more to be going on that this is going to change the market. It's going to be the new bamboo moment. As much as I dislike bamboo, it is, I do think, the next bamboo moment for the hobby. Realized I took one of those screws out to make sure the rail didn't fall off. I'm going to put that in now. And then we shall start talking about colors for the truck. Mixed nozzle sizes, yes. And from what I understand, it's probably going to be as simple as create extruder in your slicer, set extruder in your slicer, and then it's just as simple as a one tool change macro, which then goes to this position, pick up tool after dropping off previous tool at position whatever, and move on. No loading and unloading times. No, you can definitely do mixed nozzle sizes. Why can't you do mixed nozzle sizes, Brent? You can only use their nozzle sizes, so we might be limited a little bit at launch in terms of what nozzles we have available. But anybody who here who manages to get onto the beta, push for multiple nozzle sizes, please. It's what we all want. Got that wrong. It's not the end of the world. We get everything. We all get things wrong. Pezzler's mug. So Stealth Changer is done. Not Stealth Changer. Got Stealth Changer stuck in my brain now. Stealthpress is done. Let's get this out of the way. And let's talk about filaments for my truck. It's a slicer issue for multi-nozzle size, yeah. And I've been part of the beta for the Super Slicer updates. All of that stuff is going to be so easy to handle. I don't even worry about that stuff. So let's have a look at this possible colors for the truck. Let's bring up a picture for everybody. So this is what I'm planning on building. Now, it's probably going to take us 5 or 6 streams. I've heard some talk about non-planar slicers. If that's progressing, that would be super cool. I saw a video from a smaller creator over the weekend that said that they've managed to more reasonably integrate the non-planar code into a slicer. That should make life a lot simpler. So it's run as a post-processing script now. So you slice it, you throw it at the script, and the script passes it back to the slicer. That was my understanding and takeaway from it all. So hopefully that sort of stuff is coming too. Do I have the time or energy to devote to it right now? Nope. But do I have a nozzle that's suitable coming for one of my Revos? Yes. So I do want to play with it. So what have we got here? We have cyan, also known as very light or sky blue. I was thinking maybe for this truck that, you guys can see my cursor, the main part of the bed could be one color. The truck itself, the body could be another. And whether the roof matches the tray or the body of the truck is what we need to decide. And then again, all the trim parts, whether they match the tray or the front of the truck, that we need to decide on too. Is Super Slicer close enough to Orca to port features? There's an import. So in Orca, I believe you can export to Prusa Slicer, and that export can then be imported directly by Super Slicer. There's even a conversion tool that I've seen. That's not public, but there's a conversion tool I've seen they're working on, which will later be integrated as far as I know. So the other way you can do it is to create a project in Orca Slicer and export it as a 3MF, and then the engine within Super Slicer, as you do the import, would do its level best to import all of that into Super Slicer. It already knows a lot of the settings names, and therefore the name for Orca Slicer might be slightly different to the name in Super Slicer, but it knows the translation. So a lot of those things can be automatically ported via the software already. Really cool. I mean, the code. Okay, multiple nozzle sizes, features. I don't know anything about that side of it. I know that in Super Slicer you can already set multiple nozzle sizes. So you set up each extruder, and you can set the nozzle size extruder by extruder, is my understanding. So let's go back to here. How am I going to be able to do this? Sorry guys, I'm just rearranging my screen so that not that one. I have to be super careful because if I get this wrong, it's going to crash. No, that's not going to work. Let's go this one. That's going to be easier. So the color rendition on this camera at the moment is actually pretty accurate. So we can work with this. So for the truck, and I'm going to pop backwards and forwards between the two a little bit, we need to work out tray color, trim color, and whether the roof matches the tray or the roof matches the body, and whether the trim color is the same as the tray or the body. Any pointers would be awesome. So let's go back to the camera. I've got this cyan/light blue. That's pretty awesome. It's very bright yellow, which is very, maybe even a little bit brighter than what's currently on the truck, on the pictures. Yeah, so it's quite a bit brighter. A pretty generic red. It's not as red as I would like. I might have a look, see if I've got another red in a moment. I've also got a darker blue. And possibly even an orange. So let me have a look and see if I've got a better red. One moment. There we go. A much deeper red. I'm not getting any input, guys. What are you thinking? Do I just go with what they've done on the 3D set site? Because I don't mind that. I really quite like that. Or can we come up with a color screen? Clownhammer wants index. Index. Clownhammer. Click live. Click live. Let's talk to him. 1 minute. GTR Dad likes the deep red. So we can throw that away. So that deep red, that I do quite like that. And which blue, the dark blue or the light blue, Nick? So which blue? Now, full disclosure, that red was part of a throwout that a guy locally did. He bought in basically a cetainer full of filament for a shop. It cost me about $3 US a kilo. The light blue on its own, but we're not sure when it goes better with red. Okay, so let's put them all through together. Shorten these legs down. I'm thinking the more poster paint, the darker blue. And I don't think I've got any, no, I don't have any Galaxy style blacks. No, I don't have any Galaxy style blacks for the chassis, but I'll paint it I'll do it in plain black. So all the black parts on the truck are going to be in black. That's just a no-brainer. It makes sense to do it that way. With now we need to decide. I'm thinking red for the cabin of the truck. So red for this part and blue for the tray. Then it's down to these trim parts. But these are only small, so I could print them in both and then we can decide as we build. So that's not the end of the world. I've got plenty of orange to be able to do these little details. Plenty of white. Let's have a look at the back of the truck, make sure we're not missing anything. I definitely think red for the front of the truck and blue for the tray. Reason being, it's going to be a better contrast for these red details at the back. Thoughts? Now, I've gone for the off-road tires, not the road tires, purely and simply because my kids are likely to be using this outside. Having a look, see if there's any more details that might be. So Nick's in agreement. Kegel likes it. So I think we've got a color scheme. So let's go over this one more time. Blue for the tray and these features here. The black is going to be the traditional black, just like here in the pictures. And then let's go around to the front. The cabin of the truck is going to be red roof and red doors and red trim all around here. And I'll print the side trims in both red and blue, and we'll see which one works. Yeah, you need to go off-road tires to run over massive. This isn't as big as it looks. This is around about the same size as the Reaper that Jeremy built, as far as I know. It's actually the same front as the truck that Zombie Hedgehog just built. Our spiders aren't this big. I mean, the size of my hand maybe. And they like to jump, for those of you who don't know. And on one of my early streams, I had a redback spider that kept trying to crawl up my leg. Redbacks are one of our local bitey poison spiders. And they're quite harmless if you don't upset them. So it's one of those things where they will only bite if provoked most of the time. So the spiders are bigger than the truck. In some cases, yes. You should have a look for huntsman spider jumping. See if I can find something suitable for showing without breaching too many copyrights. Okay, brace yourself, people. That'll give you an idea of how big these things are. That's huge, need a flamethrower. So let's get rid of that. There we go. They're quite cute and cuddly. Nuclear from orbit. You guys. You need a shop sign for this many days since injured by local animals and plants. I tend to hurt myself more than the local wildlife does. 3 weeks ago, the very end of my stream, I just said goodbye to you guys, and I dropped a GST crimp on the floor during the stream, and then I stood on it. Good job I'd muted myself, because there was a very long F-worded expletive yelled, and then I had to get a friend who's a nurse to pull it out with a pair of tweezers for me, because it sucked. Yeah, it was embedded with the spiky side up. Have I got any crimps here? Not everybody, I realize, on the stream will know what these crimps look like. So let's go here. Not that one. There's my tweezers. Can I get it to focus? Get that out of the way. It might focus. There we go. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. No, it might be beyond. There we go. That spiky side up went in my heel. So my friend who's a nurse had to pull it out with tweezers for me. It sucked. And even now, 2 weeks later, I know that it's done damage. So it's because every time I stand on my heel, you can feel it just not quite nice unless I put my heel down. So we are very much at the end of my normal streaming window. Let's go back to me so we can talk properly. So we have been able to achieve stuff, which is better than we have done for the last few months. We've got our Stealthpress built. It's working. It should be a very welcome addition to my tool armory here. We have worked out roughly what color scheme we are going to go for the 3D Sets truck, and I will keep you guys updated. Hopefully everybody has liked and subscribed for me. I really do appreciate everybody who comments on my videos as well. So if you're watching this as a VOD later, or you stumble across my streams, please always like, subscribe, and say something in the comments or chat. And that way YouTube knows that I'm awesome, and it will count towards me when I can eventually set this all up for monetization. If you want to support my work, if you want to help me pay for some of this stuff that's costing me a small fortune out of my hobbies budget, then please jump onto Fourth Wall. There's a link in the description where you can buy merch, the t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's mugs, stickers, all sorts of cool stuff. And then Nick, sorry for those who aren't, that hole in your foot would be a great place for spiders to lay eggs. Dude. You'd laugh, but you reminded me of a story about bot flies. I can't remember where, but the BBC have reports of a cameraman who got bitten behind his ear by a bot fly, and he was kept awake at night because he could hear the larvae inside the wound eating his flesh. There you go, Nick. They've left you with something to think about. And you're about to go to bed, dude. No, just no. So, guys, thank you for joining me. I have been the Down Under Maker, and it's time for me to hop on out of here. Thank you for joining me, and see you all next week at the same time.